Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. O3 Mining is part of the Osisko Group. In fact, the 3 stands for the third iteration of Osisko. We operate in Canada, particularly in Val d'Or, which is the Golden Valley or the Valley of Gold in Canada. We have around 3.9 million ounces right now in the company, a market cap of around $140 million and $100 million in cash. Yes, $140 million in market cap and $100 million in cash and 3.9 million ounces, on top of a project that will be built by 2026, and I will go over what we have right now in this extraordinary belt of Val d'Or. As I mentioned before, we have a very good financial status at this moment. We have a very strong technical team. We recently added Jean-Félix Lapage to be working with us on the engineering side of things. And because we want to be a producer, our vision is become a mid-tier, we certainly take ESG on a very strict way. We are the 3rd company in Canada to be accredited by the Eco-Law, and that makes us extremely happy on how we are progressing with our projects. In terms of valuation, it is obvious and it stands out the fact that we have right now a project such as Marban with already a preliminary economic assessment which shows at $1,450 per ounce a net present value of $423 million. If we use $1,750 per ounce and a 5% discount rate, we will be talking about a project of a value, a net present value of $700 million, while right now we're being traded at an enterprise value of $40 million. We are being covered by 7 different analysts. Our major shareholder, because of the spin-out, is Osisko Mining. The 2nd largest shareholder is myself and our family office out of Peru. And in terms of institutions are the usual suspects. Here is where we operate, Val d'Or. We were able to execute a plan that was well planned since 2016 when we created Osisko, and we were able to assemble this extraordinary map in Val d'Or, where we have right now around 80 kilometers in a very prolific ground, an area where more than 30 million ounces of gold has been already mined, and an area where new deposits are being found constantly. Where we operate, in the case of Marban, is very close to the Canadian Malartic mine. The Canadian Malartic mine is owned by Agnico and Yamana. We are 12 kilometers from there. And we have 2 main projects, Marban, where we have 2.5 million ounces, and we're moving this from a PEA to a pre-feasibility study by next year. And in the case of Camflo, we have a plug that goes from the old Camflo mine into our deposit, where we are in the process of rediscovering it, and I will show you a couple of slides on that regard. And we also have a project where we are growing the resources, which is called Bulldog, and I will cover that as well. So as we speak, again, we have around 80 kilometers along the Carrier Lake break and along the Marbanite and Norbanite structures, which are the ones that goes from Goldex to Kina to where we operate in Marban. In the case of Marban, it's a very simple story. Again, we have 2.5 million ounces, from which in inferred we have around 600,000 ounces. For the past year, we have been converting these resources, and we will have a new resource in the 1st quarter of 2022, which essentially will show that we have converted this amount of ounces, and then from that point on, we can move to our pre-feasibility study that will be ready by the 4th quarter. So in that process of drilling inside the pits, we have been finding mineralization outside the pits, which hopefully will allow us to move on what is shown on our PEA, which are these 5 pits, to probably a larger pit, and that will be part of our work right now with the engineering. You can see from here where we have been drilling. We have been drilling inside the pits, also outside the pits. It almost seems that this is now joining. we have been finding more mineralization below the pit and some higher grade as well inside the pit that hopefully will give us a higher grade when we work on our definitive resource here. This is what I was alluding in my first comment. We have a very robust project for the evaluation that right now we have. And one of the important things to mention is that this project has a $423 million net present value at a 1,450. At a $1,750 per ounce, we have a net present value of $700 million and a 1950 of 892. We have a very manageable capex for the size of company that we have of around $256 million. When I referred into Camflo, this is an area where Barrick drilled in the 1980s. They stopped the mine because of the gold price, and we were able to find information, to reprocess the information. Is something that we have figured out just the last couple of months. We can see the kind of results that exist in there. 10 meters of 18 grams, 3.2 meters of 33 grams, 7.2 meters of 21 grams, 4.7 meters of 50 grams, which we know that in here we could possibly already have a resource. The idea is to re-drill this because this core was lost, so we have to re-drill the core in order to have proper information to be given to the market. We will have to reprocess and have the proper certificates, and the idea is with these 3 machines to work here, to go down to 200 meters from there, and then even further, and to be able to show that there is potential here for 1 million ounces or so. This is just the way we're going to intend to drill. Just to finalize here, we have a very good project on the eastern side, especially 2 main areas. This area called Omega, which is a couple of 100 meters really from El Dorado, and we're drilling that as we speak. So hopefully between January and March we could have a discovery, fingers crossed. And in the case of Camflo, is an area that we have been drilling now for 2 campaigns. It is showing very good results. If we do a long section in here, this is the kind of results that we have as of right now. We are in a couple 100,000 ounces right now. We will have a proper resource for the 3rd quarter of next year. And the idea will be to continue to drill towards the west. One important thing from here is that now we understand that there is a component of sort of intrusive related deposits which allow us now to understand better where we are in the system. And since that happened a couple months ago, we have not been able to miss one single hole, which is really important on what we are intending to do. In a way to finish this presentation, I want to reiterate the fact that this company is being built on fundamental value. We have one project moving to a pre-feasibility study where the preliminary economic assessment is already showing $423 million at $1,450 per ounce with a 5% discount rate. We have around $100 million in cash, and the company is worth, in terms of market cap right now, $140 million. Couple of things are going to happen next year in these 43 seconds that I have. First, we're going to have results at Camflo. 2, we're going to have our resource at Marban in the 1st quarter. 3, we're going to have the 3rd quarter with Bulldog resource. And 4, we will have the pre-feasibility ready for Marban. And with that, I thank you everyone for your attention. And I would appreciate if you can look into our website, or you can contact me at any time, www.o3mining.com. Thank you very much for your attention.